interweb, your man Q back again. Hope you guys had a great weekend. As for me, I can't complain. There was some Tales of Arise, there was some anime, and football is back. And today we're gonna jump into some what's wrong with RPGs and how do we fix them. But before that, we've got some scores from Metacritic, IGN, and some of them other games spot. And it might surprise you. And where is Morpheus on Matrix 4 Resurrection? But before that, if you're new to my channel and you like video games, especially on them RPGs, anime, and everything else in between, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date. I do geekly content Monday through Friday, and I also stream over on Twitch. All the links are gonna be right here. You can follow me if you want. No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. So Tales of Arise is finally out, and fans have been salivating, including myself, for I don't know how long, ever since we've seen the new screens of Shion and Alphen and realized that they were now going into the Unreal Engine direction. And let me say, from the 12 to 14 hours that I put in the game, I love it, and it quite possibly might have the best battle system that I've ever played in any of the Tales games. And out of the 18 Tales games, I'm not no slouch, I've played about 10 or 11. So I do know a little bit. And according to Metacritic, who rated Tales of Arise the #1 rated game as far as the Tales series, beating out one of my favorite Tales games, Tales of Symphonia, with an 86, and Tales of Vesperia with an 83, just by 1 point. But Tales of Symphonia is considered one of the legend acts and dropped way back on one of the beefy RPG machines in the GameCube. But if you're not a Metacritic type of guy or gal, I get it, I understand. IGN also gave it a 9, GameSpot a 7, which seems to be like the outliner, and gave it the lowest score. RPG Site a 9, and my favorite place to go to get all of my top tier RPG knowledge and reviews is A Friend RPG Fan, which gave it a 93 out of 100 and gave it the editor's choice for this is the game you should be playing. I've been enjoying myself. I don't want any spoilers. I can't wait to jump into more. I just, have y'all ever did that? I did this a little bit with Final Fantasy VII, the remake. You're so excited for a game that when you get it, you just kind of want to enjoy it. You just don't want to run through. Well, that's how I've been with Tales of Arise. I didn't even get a chance to play it yesterday because I was working, but I just want to take my time and make love to the game. So if you've been like everybody else in the interwebs who's a Matrix fan, you've been paying attention to a lot of the screens, trailers, clips, and news, but you haven't seen my man Lawrence Fishburne from the Matrix. Well, according to GameSpot, which posted the video on Twitter a few days ago, it brought up a very valid point about the MMO in 2009 that dropped. Apparently, the game is canon. And because the game is canon, well, that means Morpheus is dead, which would give a reason why we see new characters and new brothers. According to The Gamer, the Wachowskis gave their blessings to the game at the time, way back in 2009, which touted a canonical sequel continuing the trilogy as directors move on from the projects. In the game, Morpheus dies, and since it's canon, well, that means he's dead in the movies too. And that's kind of sad, because I really like Morpheus in the movies. You know, you always need that old wise dude to help narrate the story. But then on the flip side of it, years have passed, over 20 now, and Neo is that dude. So I'm interested to see the new characters and how everything flips. But rest in peace, Morpheus. I think that this is going to make a lot more people go and check out that 2009 MMO, or at least look up the vids like I did. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about are shops. How many of us have went to shops in a random part of the town, in a random city, and they just so happen to have every item that my particular character needs? It doesn't sell any other items. It only sells what you need. That don't seem like world building to me. And I get it isn't within the parameters of the game, but just with so simple of a stroke, so simple of a turn of events, you can make a game more fleshed out. For instance, if you have a mage and she or he uses a book to cast spells, then if you have a town with a library, which almost every town has a library, and if they don't make one in the game, wouldn't they go and rent or buy books that could help them learn spells and these different weapons and attacks? If there's a person who uses tools like a gigantic wrench or a hammer or mallet, well, it's not a big deal for us as players to go and explore a different area within the town, which would offer more interaction with NPCs, and it would also offer more quest options, which you can do different things to get particular weapons with still being in that town or within that area that fits within the story. Not everything has to be rocket science. Some things can just be easy transitions, and those easy transitions really help paint a better world. There should be a cap on items. Let me say that again. For a gamer, a player that loves items, there should be a cap on items. There should be no way that I am able to hold on to 99 potions, 99 revives, or 99 pieces of meat while I travel across the world. Where the hell am I holding those things? And too many games fall victim to that. And too many gamers, like myself, we abuse it. For one, just give it a cap. Like Zelda has done for I don't know how many decades. You have only a certain amount of bombs or items or bows that you'll be able to fit within your bag or your quiver, and then later on you're able to upgrade those things. I've actually really enjoyed the explanation that Shion off of Tales of Arise explained to Alphen about how her weapon is basically in another dimension. And I feel that items could be explained the same exact way. Either you have the items in another dimension, or you just can't get thousands of items. It just doesn't make sense, and actually kind of cuts some of the difficulty out of the game. The side quests. What's a great idea now being overused and overplayed like a Drake song you don't want to hear anymore. Nothing worse than being in the middle of the world-saving mission and here's a quest for you to save Little Lily's cat. I feel that each quest, whether you're doing a bounty hut system or you're doing just random quests through a guild, should play some form of role within the game. Not all, of course, I get it. Some things you will have to go pick up a flower for this girl or tell this guy that this girl has a crush on him. I get. But to have 100 quests and 80 of them are pretty much the same thing. Final Fantasy XII did this really great when it came to introducing the board, which made you feel like the quest you were doing did actually have something, or that you were actually helping someone. A lot of quests should and could be timed and tied to story-based things at that particular time. And if you don't do them, they have consequences or repercussions with things later on, whether you're getting a new item or a free thing, or even if it's something as simple as NPC saying something that they didn't say before, or even in a different spot. Quests should move the story along, not just be something that you have to do to get money. Levels. We're still using number levels in RPGs after all these decades. They're outdated, they're boring, and we need to have a better, more story-based system. Saga Frontier did this really well, and even though they had a leveling system where you seen your levels, what they did is each time you upgraded, it gave you health points and magic points, depending on that particular character. Because if you're a 350-pound barbarian, you probably are going to level up in strength more than level up in speed. So they gave those points appropriately. You can even go a step further to fix a leveling up system where after you beat a major boss or hit a very big scenario or after a certain battle, you receive a certain amount of points, which you're able to later distribute those points into your speed, health, magic, strength, or things that you want to build your particular character to be. And it's not that hard to do. It's just feels like we've been trapped and people are just accustomed to it now. So you mean to tell me that I have a question mark, some kind of random star, sprinkles, or cross
as a save point?
But there's nothing worse than playing a medieval game and the save spot has nothing to do with the game. It's just completely out of place. And it's such a simple fix. Dragon Quest XI did this. The game was based off of you recording and praying and giving thanks to the goddess. So what did you do? You prayed to a statue, and that was like you talking and communicating with the goddess, and that saves your game. There should not be a random ball, and I'm talking about you, Final Fantasy X, one of my favorite games. It shouldn't just be a random circle with no explanation of why it was there. And why is it there at such key points? There's an easy way to do this. For example, in one of my projects, you have a device, and when you're getting ready to fight a boss, the device says no signal. Just like, well, our real cell phones and technology and devices. But any other time when you're out on the world map, or you're out anywhere else, or even in certain dungeons and towns, you can just pick that device up, save, and you're done. Just the little things help shape the world that we are spending 50, 60, 70, hundreds of hours in. Good old random encounters. How many games have used, misused, and overused random encounters? You would think that by now, random encounters would be a thing of the past, but oh no. On major AAA titles still, you walk down a field or on a world map or even in a dungeon and the gaming industry, the RPG genre knows that random encounters is a problem. However, much like a few things that's on this list, it doesn't feel like it's going to change because it's like embedded inside of RPGs, and it doesn't have to be. There's nothing quite like trying to get to a save point and random encounter right before you get to that save point. And it's been more than a few times that's resulted for me in a game over. And now I'm not just saying that just for that, but shouldn't we be able to see what we're fighting? Now, in certain situations, like if you're in a forest or if it's built up to that point within the game, sure, yeah, I get it. But just as far as you going out to the world map or just in a castle and then you get a random encounter of a guard, couldn't we just see the guards there and maybe avoid them? Or if they're in an unavoidable place, like an entrance or an exit of a castle, Chrono Trigger did this way back in 1995. And I still can't believe games still have random encounters. I know, like a lot of things on this, I get it. It saves with production, animation, and time and money. But there's cheaper and easier ways to do that now. This is 2021, and random encounters should be a thing of the past. You should have the ability to choose to rather fight in a battle or to avoid it. A lot of RPGs still have it where when I kill a monster, a boar, or some random chipmunk mutated creature, I get thousands of gil, gold, glad, and credits for it. And that does not make sense. Money should only be something gained from humanoids or from trading items in that you get from those said mutated creatures, monsters, and things. I can see a chipmunk swallowing 1 gil. But if I kill this chipmunk and it has 25 guild, well, damn it, I'm gonna go outside the world map and just kill 35 chipmunks. And I'm gonna get that new fancy sword. Now, I know you can say that that takes away from some of the aspects of grinding in the game. Probably needs to be suppressed as well. Or if you're gonna grind, then at least make it worth your while, which leads to why quests are essential, because you should get your money from quests, selling items and doing different things within the game. And if you can't go and fight your way out of a situation by just buying upgraded gear, by just beating up on random animals, then that gives you a reason to actually have to do these quests and sell these different items in order to make yourself get more money. And I was so pleasantly surprised to see that Tales of Arise has done that as well. You get your money mainly from your quests. 10 hours in, and I only had 3,000 glad, which makes me really look forward to the quest that I'm doing, think about what I'm selling, and be skeptical on what I'm buying. Treasure chests. How many times have I said it? How many games have I played? And it's the same thing. I can count on 3 fingers, only one that comes to mind, of games would actually made the treasure chest not just a random treasure chest on a map. How I tire the agony of the hundreds and hundreds of hours, thousands, that I've been playing role-playing games, and it just so happens to be a treasure chest hidden in the corner of a cave that was filled with enemies in no other human civilization but from 300 years ago. And yes, I've heard everything from Q, why does it bother you? Why should it matter? But if you're painting a world or a picture of a world, yes, it does matter, because no one leaves a random treasure chest just lying there. Now, maybe if you're in a castle or some kind of fort, that goes with the story. But as far as just having a treasure chest just in the middle of nowhere, down a ladder, wouldn't somebody that came before you have gotten that treasure chest? It's something that just feels like it's so easy to fix and put it within the actual story, within the world of the game. Mass Effect did this beautifully. And it quite possibly might be the best game that did that, because of the fact that it was a futuristic setting. They put treasures and items and even money, loose change and credits inside of lockers, which had made sense that those things would be there at those particular places within the game. You get ready to fight a boss, well, guess what? When you're going down some Prothean ruins or any other kind of ruins, people before you put an access code there for the workers to have those items. It makes sense within the game, and those simple things paint a picture and make you feel like you're not in the world, but you're in their world. And essentially, again, that's why we play role-playing games, to experience that world. A sparkly little thing or a noise that you could hear, or even an exclamation point when you get around, not just a treasure chest that's been waiting with the best or the second to best armor in the game. It doesn't make sense, and it really just needs to stop. Whew. Well, what do you think, Interweb? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you agree with any of the things that I put on this list that would make RPGs better, or some of the things that's the problem with it? I didn't get a chance to put everything that I want on the list because the video was 30 plus minutes, and I was like, it's time to cut it. If not, I'd still be editing all the way until tomorrow. But interweb, if you did like this video, do me a favor and make sure you hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy the content that you see, make sure you subscribe. I make geekly content Monday through Friday, and you can find me over on Twitch. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I've been streaming here on the tube on Saturday if I got a little extra bonus time. You know, I'm gonna be doing like maybe some retro, maybe a little AC, you know, and that's Animal Crossing. That's not Assassin's Creed. And as always, interweb, remember to eat, sleep, geek, repeat. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace!